Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever this podcast may find you. It is I, as always, Gavin.
And I, Justin.
And we are remote again this time, mostly because the day that we would record this, people would be likely hungover at Justin's place for a party, for a New Year's party. And I also just got my COVID booster. So if I sound a little hoarse or a little, maybe a little deeper voice than normal, that's why. I'm not going to get much more into it than that.
Yeah, exactly.
And but what do we talk about, Justin?
Well, we talk about the finishing up the holiday season because we just had to brush over that real quick, seeing what each other got and whatnot. We talk about how certain things have aged because one of the presents I got myself was kind of a cool older piece of tech that I'd been trying to get for a while, and so we touch on that. We also touch on our favorite things of the year because it's kind of the beginning of year-end review season, and how good was it, how bad was it?
We're definitely on the back half of that. I think everyone else has kind of done theirs already.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, and then finally we end up brushing on like what we're excited to, looking forward a little bit because we've got some cool shit in the pipelines, and we're excited for it to come to fruition.
Yeah, man, let's fucking do it.
Yeah. Boop. Too bad I already cracked open my frosty beverage.
That's not too bad.
I mean, hey, there are people that are into this type of ASMR. It does exist. It's actually called mukbang.
It is. It's got a really fucking dirty name to it. It sounds like it's something different.
Yeah, very much so.
Wait, and this is like high quality mic, so I'm gonna eat my fries like really. I'm gonna rub them together here.
We can hear the salt scratching around. Oh, my mouth is watering.
Oh,
that's fantastic.
Oh man.
God.
Well, this is what happens when we do shit remotely.
Exactly. It's just mic on, fucking go.
Mic on, and I had already ordered my DoorDash like a little bit ago, and then you texted me and was like, "Hey, you still on for tonight?" I'm like, "Yes." Yes, we are.
Here we are. So you, dear listener, are listening to this the day after New Year. So Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It is
we're
now
talking
2023.
We're teleporting right now. We're going back? No, we're going forward to the future. Back to the past?
Yes, that's future to the back. How do we not get ourselves copy striked?
Face down, ass up.
Exactly. Hopefully that's not how 2023 ends up, but so far, at least on my end, and I think your end as well, 2023 is looking to be fucking prime, bud.
I mean, the first part of it at least is going to be pretty rad. As of today, I booked my Airbnb for my vacation for my 30th, my dirty 30. Hopefully it won't be that dirty. But yeah, for those that listening and maybe care, I'm doing a week-long vacay in January with my girlfriend down to Southern California, where I'm actually going to link up with our good buddy Andrew Casey, who has been on the podcast. He and his girlfriend are going to fly in, and he got himself a toy. I don't know if I should actually divulge. I guess it probably doesn't matter to the context of the show, but he rented a 718 Cayman GT4 with PDK.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm in the process of finding what I want to do because the Porsches that I'm looking at, like so many of them, like the ones I actually want, require a $750 deposit, which gets refunded. I think it's the day after you return the car.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Which makes it makes sense, and like a lot of these are like $high cars. I get it, but at the same time, I also don't want to have to do that exactly.
If you can avoid it, yeah. Because
So
it's painful at the best of times.
yeah, because I'll see like in the and also the way Turo works, you don't know about the deposit until you're checking out, and they go like, "Oh hey, by the way, here's a $750 deposit."
By the way, give us money now.
Basically, yeah, they're not very clear up front about it, and that has less to do with the owners, and I think more about how the website operates. Unless if the owner really wanted to put that in the description, of the listing for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But so what I've been looking at, there's a 981 generation. It's a 20. Here, I have to clean my hands off.
Yeah, you don't want to get all that fry grease all over everything.
All the salt
Oh, yeah.
or the seasoning, because I got Cajun fries. A 2015 black. It's actually triple black. It's black on black on black. GTS manual has the option of a red tachometer in the middle. Ooh.
Interesting.
Here we'll throw it back to 2018 or 2019 when we did some of the early episodes of the podcast and read off some churro listings.
Yes, yes.
You're renting a very rare Porsche Cayman GTS with a manual transmission, active exhaust, Sport Plus, featuring rev matching during downshifts. They describe what that means in the listing.
Funny.
Sports Plus also opens up the exhaust valves. Factory lowered. I don't know what that actually means, other than the GTS maybe riding lower than a base Cayman. 20-inch wheels, Alcantara leather interior. No smoking. They don't mention anything about a GPS or of any kind. But it also says, in other words, please treat the vehicle as if it was your own. We treat and take care of all our vehicles as best we can, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. So that was the thing I was looking at. Before that, I was actually looking at a 718 Boxster GTS 4.0. So the basically the last of it's like the very last bastion of naturally aspirated 6-cylinder mid-engine Porsches that aren't GT4s.
Yeah.
Of like the non-GT program Porsches, basically.
Gotcha.
And that was like $190 a day, but it had like a bunch of other stuff to it. I need to find it again and like weigh the pricing, because there was a big turn off for me. And the thing that sucks about podcast stuff like this is that it's going to be a bear for you to edit any kind of boringness out.
Yeah, and I mean, the reality is, didn't they come back with, it went up in price, if I remember correctly.
There was a price hike. So, let's see.
And I know it ended up being just like, not worth it, even for as cool as that car is.
Yes, I am. Okay, vehicle makes, Porsche. Vehicle models. I'm going to go down to Boxster. The one that I saw, it was some sort of paint sample blue. It was fucking pretty. Oh, well, it's not available anymore for those days. So someone must have gotten it. That's very interesting.
Somebody spent a lot of money.
Did I send the link of that to you?
You might have at some point. I believe you did, because when we were first discussing this, we were throwing links back and forth.
Yeah, but that was a while ago.
It was quite a while ago. Boop. But I can search Turo right here and see if it got...
Granted, I put it in also some specific days, so...
Yeah, I'm already way back, so maybe you didn't send me the link.
Maybe not. It's only that. Huh. Interesting. Can't find it. You know what? Let me search Andrews. Sorry, folks, for the 6 people that like to listen to us on occasion.
Yeah, and the reality is that's what's difficult with Turo, is that you're both beholden to like what the owner wants to charge, and sometimes like things going up in certain areas and things getting popular. And also, that's what I think the biggest thing that sucks about Turo to me is that if you want to rent a car that's cool, like a 911 or a Cayman GT4,
found it.
Sweet. You're almost always beholden to like extra fees, and it ends up being a little more expensive than you would hope.
So when I was looking at this thing before, It was like in the 140-ish range per day.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's 214 per day.
Yeah, that's decent price hike.
And then that for like 3 days plus a $750 deposit. Yeah, you get it back, but it makes it, in my opinion, a higher hurdle to jump. But it's a PDK, it's a paint to sample, it's a GTS 4.0, and it's a Boxster in LA. So like it, does a lot of things. But yeah, I had to move on from that, which then brought up this Cayman, and I had seen this over the years before. It had always been a bit out of price range, and I thought, and I could be wrong, but I thought I saw something before about a GPS sensor in the car, where guidelines. We want you to have fun, but this is not for racing. We have performance monitoring and GPS geofencing around known tracks. So that's different than what I thought it was before, and I think they might have changed some of the wording to clarify that.
Yeah.
Because, I don't want to take someone's car from Turo and go on track. I'll happily, if an owner of a car wants us to do a review of a car on a track, like, say, at UMC, and it's, my friend Sasha's ND Miata, right?
Yeah.
I will happily do that. Or if someone had a Cayman that was like, hey, like, we should do a thing where you drive my car on track and we promote something. Fucking great. Like, I would love to do that. But I'm not going to go find and rent someone's personal car to then, beat the shit out of, the tires and the brakes and, work the cooling system too much and, like, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, everything else that I'm seeing, I could go for 718s. I've rented a 718 Cayman before. It was fast. It didn't sound terrible. It wasn't great. It didn't. And this is, this whole trip is for myself and my girlfriend. Her birthday is a week after mine, and I'm having my 30th. So there's kind of like a lot to like celebrate, and like I want to, do the thing that I really want to do and have like the experience that I really want to have. I know what I want for this. It's just a matter of finding the right thing.
Yeah.
And so, as much as I would, as much as I wish this Cayman GTS was a Boxster GTS, I think I might go for it. It's, $200 a day, and I think it, it has a refundable $750 deposit.
Interesting. Okay. So I remember when we were first looking through this, we found some of these Porsches. We also found a Supra, as well as we found just a couple other odds and ends.
We did. I have been trying to keep it Porsche because of the thing I just, got over.
Yeah. Funny thing, I just found a 2017 Mercedes-Benz AMG GTS for much cheaper than I was expecting. $128 a day.
Can you send that over?
Yes, and it's silver. And here we go. Sent your direction, my friend. The last one we found, we did find an AMG GT, or HGTS, but I think it was like $200 plus a day. It was not worth the price. Ooh, it has the black and red interior, the two-tone interior.
Interesting. I mean, so naturally, as soon as I started to bring up a thing about Turo and about Porsches, you would try to stray me away from Porsche.
I more just look generics, but yes. I just found that. I was like, that's a shockingly good price considering the ones we've seen before.
You must be at least 30 years old to book this vehicle, which is irritating because the trip start is a day after my birthday, and Turo has my information. You can't, come on.
That's funny. I find it funny that it's 30 plus to book on this car, but a relatively cheap price.
I mean, I think they might be factoring in, their vehicle might be in safer hands in general.
Yeah.
For those over 30. So you don't get, the 21-year-old TikTok influencer that's going to just, yeet his shit off a fucking, what's that road that Alex Choi, jumped a Tesla.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about, and I think that most people listening might have seen the video clip float across their Facebook feed or Instagram.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah, because it was pretty famous for a second because he was ridiculous.
Well, I mean, that's his brand.
It is. Mm-hmm. I did also just find a 2018 M5 for 128.6 a day.
That's not the thing I'm looking for.
It's not though. No. The AMG GT is closer. It's not the thing you're looking for, but it's closer
close.
than this.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. This guy makes a big point that this M5 has tinted windows. Woo!
Cool. My Fiesta has that too.
I know. It's like my Tacoma has that, bro.
Yeah.
It ain't that cool. Like, it's nice, but I find it funny to be advertising that for a rental car.
Yeah. Also on an M5. I think we kind of I understand his demographic now, actually.
True. Oh man.
Drug
cool.
dealers.
Yes. And people that don't want to see have their shit seen from inside the car. So drug dealers.
Yep.
Oh,
well, did you get anything fun for Christmas?
Oh, I got some computer parts. Oh my God. I'll have to tell a brief story to tell this. 4 years ago, my family bought me a Bob Ross shirt, just a t-shirt, just as a funny joke. My friends found out about that, and every Christmas and birthday since then, I have gotten Bob Ross merchandise of one type or another. So, this Christmas, I am now the proud owner of the official Bob Ross Monopoly, Bob Ross boxer shorts, Bob Ross the energy drink, Bob Ross Lego figurines, and...
I'm sorry, the energy drink? Sorry, I'm muting myself because I'm eating a fried chicken sandwich.
Yes.
The energy drink.
Yes.
Are you going to have some?
Not this one, but I do know where to get them, so I probably will go just buy one at some point and try it just to see. It's in I think it's called like It's Sweet or something like that. It's just a like sugary sweet place in Farmington Station, but I haven't tried it. But yes, the energy drink, and then finally a bobblehead. Like, I'm gonna accidentally become the owner, through no fault of my own, of every piece of official Bob Ross merchandise because everyone has joined in on it. My family, Bryce's family, 3 of like my closest friends in our friend group, like, and amazingly, not only have they all bought official merchandise, it's not like knockoff shit, it's all the official brand, but also, on top of that, none of them have bought the same thing somehow. It's bizarre.
I'm surprised it's taking you this long to get a bobblehead. I would have figured that would have been like step 1.
I would have too, but here we are. So I got a bunch of that. I got a few other like little odds and ends, like ball joints for the Saab, lots of jeans and socks because I blow through those just with how my work is and getting up and down on the ground and stuff. And then a couple things that'll eventually help us with editing once my actual internet provider gets their shit together and I get fiber here finally, which is a like high-speed network card and a few other things that'll be really nice for here and for editing and transferring footage and whatnot. So just a lot of like good across the board stuff, just really useful things, which I like, not just stupid shit, you know?
Yeah.
What about you?
I got money from Mom and Dad.
Sweet.
Sorry if I'm sniffling. I promise you I didn't just do a bunch of Coke. It's just the spicy chicken sandwich.
Nice.
I got, mostly like outdoor wear, actually. Like right now I'm wearing a zip-up pullover from Columbia. My parents also got me another like thin zip-up hoodie, like a really thin, but like something you'd wear like over a t-shirt on like a 60-degree day kind of thing.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, Maddie got me, so you know those massage guns?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
She got me one of those with a bunch of attachments to it. So
those are lovely.
Have you experienced?
I have one, yes.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, so we've already tried it out, and it works nice. It's good. Like, on the lowest power setting, it's, like, more than enough. because like otherwise it just like if you touch bone, it just bounces back.
Yes.
It's like pretty aggressive. So, what else did I get? What else did I mean, mostly like the big impact thing really was money, and then I bought myself a Polaroid, and I bought Maddie a Polaroid, so we can like they're not matching. Hers is white and mine's black.
Yeah.
So mine is like a continuation of the thing I got, from the 80s. But yeah, I mean, and the money that I'm getting, or that I got, is just gonna go into my trip to California. But yeah, it was pretty mellow. I mean, I was up with my parents the night of the 24th, at Christmas morning. Went for a hike with the parents and the dog. Saw a bunch of moose. Not moose, elk. And came back down to Salt Lake and had a Christmas evening with my girlfriend, and that was kind of it. It's low key.
Nice. Oh, actually, here's a funny thing. I didn't get this for Christmas, technically, because I...
Oh, I'm sorry. I also got a super fucking sick Exhibition of Speed hoodie.
Oh, yeah. So that was a funny thing. That was a little bit of a saga. The dude that makes our shirts and hoodies, he had quite the fiasco with... he moved shop at the same time as he had 2 employees quit and then got COVID. So he had this barrage
Holy shit, dude.
problems happen that caused a little bit of like delays with that. I feel really bad for the dude, and he was really cool about it. He's like, dude, I'm giving you a discount for these. I feel so bad that it like took so long and all this shit happened. But anyways, like Gavin, I literally got those on the 23rd. I did not know if it would get to your house in time.
Yeah, and when did I send you that text? Was it on Christmas? It was on Christmas Day, right?
Yes. I believe it was on Christmas Day.
I just checked my mailbox just because I was like, maybe if somebody sent me something that was a little last minute. Sasha, of all people, actually asked for my mailing address, and I still haven't received anything from him, so
nice.
Who knows what that's about. Maybe it's for my birthday, and he's getting his shit done ahead of time for some reason. Like, we don't have a history of, like, birthday shit, so I don't know what the deal is, or even Christmas stuff. So it's like, okay, were you sending me like a Christmas card late or something? Like, what's going on? But yeah, I just went down and I checked the mails. Like, this is from Exhibition of Speed. No fucking way.
Yeah, because I knew when you had mentioned that you wanted one, I put an order in with one other one that we'd gotten and just waited, and then after the delays, it like got there. He texted me on the 22nd, and he's like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. After all the delays, I finally have these 2 ready for you." And I was like, "Cool, I will come up there right now." So I went up there, picked them up that night, printed out labels, got them like packaged, and then dropped them off. So they wouldn't have left the post box that I dropped them in until Friday morning. And it's amazing that they made it to you within a day and a half.
Yeah.
Even though, yes, it's only shipping from, like, my house to your house. But still, like...
but that's not how shipping works, though.
Exactly. And especially considering it was, like, prime before Christmas rush.
Yeah, it's the worst possible time to send anything last second. Like, it's always a guaranteed 4 to 5 days late.
Yeah, and I do have to actually give some props. I only had 1 package that was late this year. It didn't make it on time for Christmas. Everything else, even stuff that was ordered the week of, made it on time. And I'm not talking shit that was just ordered from Amazon. This was ordered from other people, not just Amazon. And everything got there on time. I think in the past 2 years, with just how shopping and shipping has gone since COVID, most of the shipping companies have really battened down the hatches and gotten their shit a little more together.
Yeah.
And everything seemed to get there a lot more smoothly than I expected.
Well, that's good.
I do have to say that. Anyways, I was going to say the other thing I got, which
do I still owe you for that, by the way?
No, you're good.
That's your thanks. Present. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too, bitch. The other thing I got, which wasn't actually a Christmas present, but it was kind of like a Christmas gift to myself because I found it by pure accident, was I've been searching for a long time for an original first-generation PlayStation 3, the big fat one.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first year, like the first model year, was hardware backwards compatible with PlayStation 2 games. It literally
I remember that, yeah.
So yeah, it literally has on the motherboard not just the PlayStation 3 components, but also legit PlayStation 2 components, so that You're not like emulating the software. It's legitimately playing on the hardware that was in the
Right.
PlayStation 2. That only lasted for the first year, because after that they did away with that, and the year after that it was not backwards compatible at all.
Yeah.
So they're pretty rare, and I found a dude on Facebook Marketplace at like 11 p.m. on the 23rd that listed one for $100 with 2 controllers. He didn't list what model number it was, but he put it in a photo, and I saw it. So I was like, fuck, I will come tomorrow. Let me know if it's still available. It was. I showed up, and the dude knew what he had. He knew it was one of the backwards compatible ones, which regularly sell for $300+ on eBay.
But he sold it to you for $100?
Yes. He's like, look, I didn't put the model number in the description because I didn't want anybody to search for it. I wanted somebody who knew what it was to go through enough of the photos, because he had about 10 photos on there, to see the small photo that I took of the model number to know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So that somebody didn't just grab it to scalp it. And yeah, I am not doing that. It is staying with me, because not only that, this thing has never been opened. The warranty sticker is still intact, and it's not even scratched to shit, even though it's like gloss black plastic.
Wow.
And it's not even dusty either. Like, the thing runs like the day it was new and is quiet. The fan doesn't ramp up. I am just blown away at how perfect condition this is. There was only one problem, which happened 3 days later, which was really funny. He told me he'd upgraded the hard drive because it was originally a 20 gigabyte model, which is pretty piss poor by almost any standard.
Yeah.
He upgraded the hard drive to a 300 gig hard drive. Well, it started having weird issues, and it was on a loading screen of a game, or not a loading screen, like a cutscene, and it started like repeating like a broken record. And I figured it was the hard drive because the LED was just on solid. When I pulled the hard drive out, the hard drive was a 2010 MacBook Pro hard drive.
Oh my God.
I was laughing my ass off that's the hard drive that he used to upgrade this. It was just, I was like, oh my God.
You're like, well, this is garbage.
This is so funny. So threw an SSD in there and haven't looked back since, but it was just so fucking funny. I was like, of all hard drives to end up putting in a PlayStation.
Right.
Like one with an Apple logo on it. Oh, such weird stuff. Anyways, I kind of consider that my Christmas present to myself, because it was a massive win, considering I didn't, like, not only did I not overpay for it, I paid way under what they're trading for, and got practically a primo condition one that works flawlessly.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I know. Like, and you don't see that every day. I've accidentally collected a lot of those old things because I have 2 first-run 360s as well that neither of them have red ringed, and I view them as kind of built on a good day, similar to this PlayStation, because it was possible, but the Xbox...
Well, you also just got it. We'll see how it pans out.
We'll see. I have the warranty seal being intact gives me good hope, because that means if it's survived this long without ever having being opened up whatsoever, it's probably got a pretty good chance.
Mm-hmm.
Because funny enough, the same OEM made the processor dies for both the 360 and the PS3, and they both have similar issues that both result in hardware failures.
Oh, great.
So yeah, it's definitely possible, but we'll see. I just find it cool that I found a piece of vintage tech like that's just so primo and didn't overpay for it.
Yeah.
Because that's getting rare. Like that shit from our childhood is getting pretty collectible pretty quick.
I mean, all old shit is. That's not new, or it's new, but it's not special, right?
Exactly.
I mean, film gear, old, gaming hardware, old computers, cars especially. And a lot of it has to do with, where we as a society are moving with a lot of, AR and VR and kind of, for lack of a better phrase, trying to enter a new world or a new dimension.
Yeah.
And people are holding on to the past. And there's also like a nostalgia that's happening with, multiple generations of people.
And I kind of, I draw a byline in here between this type of stuff and also between like manual cars and a lot of the nostalgia that goes through all that, because back in the day, or, even just a few years ago, we're used to growing up, me and you we're in the generation where we saw the turning point of something being mechanical or physical into digital. We kind of grew up with a little bit of both. But a lot of people, for instance, if you look at old hardware, like old gaming hardware or anything like that, there was a lot more physical interaction with like a disc or with things like that. Even those little things kind of add up. Whereas nowadays, I mean, most of the time, even if you go in and buy a game in store, for instance, you get a piece of paper that has a code on it to download it. You don't actually get a disc in most cases.
Right.
So
most people probably aren't even going into stores anymore. People are probably just going on, their Xbox Live account and buying shit.
Yeah, because it's super fucking convenient. No doubt, like, there's a reason we've moved in this direction. But I think the reason that we've gotten a bit more nostalgic about stuff that's only 15 years old so quickly is because of how quickly we went and advanced through the last 20 years. I was actually thinking about this. If you look at what's happened in the past 20 years, it is wild how fast technology's advanced. 12 years ago, we didn't have smartphones in any way that we know today.
12?
More,
like 15 plus.
15, because
because like 2006 was iPhone 1.
Yes, it was either 6 or 7. That's what I was making sure of. But yeah, because the iPhone is what really kickstarted all that. Because anything smart, quote unquote smartphone prior to that was not very smart, and didn't interact in the way that we're used to today.
Yeah, because fucking Blackberries existed.
My dad had a BlackBerry. 2007. It was announced for the iPhone first gen. I mean, that was what kickstarted all that. Prior to that, it was totally different. Same with, game consoles. If you look at, like, what a modern Xbox is versus, like, what a first gen one is, oh my God, is it massive, colossal difference. And cars have been the same way. If you look at, like, a 2000 Mark IV Jetta versus a Mark VIII brand new fancy Jetta from today. I mean, it's just, we've accelerated more in the past 20 years than ever before, and I think that is a fact. I don't think there's a way to really argue against that, and a lot of that has been digital, and so we've lost so many of those physical things, and I think that's why some of these have become so popular so quickly to, like, collect, because it gives us not only nostalgia but also, like, a thing to feel and touch and do.
A lot of it's the physical thing. I mean, look at streaming on Spotify or Apple Music versus picking a record out of a shelf, opening the tray of your record player, replacing the disc probably, setting it down, and depending on your record player, either hitting go or, lifting the needle yourself, and dropping the needle onto the record player, and, it plays.
I mean, I also look at you and your film stuff that you've started getting back into.
Yeah. I mean, and to people that, I'm not saying you don't get it, but, you're not into the thing like I am. I handed you my Canon FT Quick Load, which is from the build dates for those was between 1967 and 1972. So, best case scenario, it's a 50-year-old camera. It could be a 55-year-old camera.
Yep. And
I handed it to you, and I showed you how to cock it back, and I had you feel what the shutter was like. And I was actually walking around Salt Lake today, taking some pictures on it because I have a roll to burn through. And it's just so immensely satisfying, even compared to my AE1 program, which is also a 35mm SLR camera. But that's from, like, the late 80s, early 90s. So, or if I'm being honest, probably mid to late 80s. Probably somewhere between 85 and 89 or something like that.
Yeah.
So, the FT is even more not engaging, but more, tactily satisfying than even a separate antiquated film camera from 30 years ago. So, I'm excited to get that roll done and back. I'll probably take that with me tomorrow, actually, instead of my program because of the film. I have Cinestill 800T in my AE1 program. I've had you look up that film stock in the past a couple of times on the podcast. Mm-hmm. It's the one that gets, like, the reddish glows or the halations around light sources.
Yeah.
So I have that in my AE1 program. The thing about that film stock is it's a really cold temperature film. Like, when I say that, I don't mean, like, literally cold, but it's like white balance wise, color wise, it's very blue. And so, hence the T in the name. The T stands for tungsten.
Ah, gotcha.
So, yeah, because they have various films, with different white balances that are out. They have a 400D, which stands for daylight. They have a 50D, which is a 50 ISO film that is also a daylight balance. They do have a black and white. I don't know what it's called, but anyways, yeah, I have that in my AE1 program, and what I'm doing tomorrow is not going to be visually very warm, so that means everything would look fucking blue, and I don't necessarily want to do that, so I'm going to take my FT. I know there's some kind of 400 ISO film speed in there. I just don't know what. I loaded it.
The fun of it.
I loaded it a while ago. Well, a lot of film cameras, they'll have a little slot. So that back part that pops out?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the film cameras will have like a little slot for you to take a piece of like ripped up box for like packaging from the film roll, so you can put it in there, and it's it's a frame, so it's not like it's covered at all, so you can see exactly what film you have in the camera.
Okay.
The FT does not have that. And I loaded this a little while ago, and I just know that the ISO is set for 400. So I'll know what film I get when I, finish up the roll and I pop the back out and go like, oh, is it actually a 400 ISO? Is it an 800 ISO? If it's an 800, then I'm going to have to do what's called pushing. I'll have to push the film and have them develop it as if it was an 800, not a 400. And that, changes exposure levels. It changes contrast. When people push film, it actually raises the contrast of the film.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Because you're chemically pushing the properties of the film to do something that's more sensitive. So we've been doing a lot of talking and not that much about cars. You've done some like Christmas stuff, and you've, gone on rants about tech.
Yep.
Well, this is a car podcast, and I'd like to keep it a car podcast. So, since we are recording this at the end of the year, and it'll launch, at the very first day of the new year, or the second day of the new year, technically, I guess.
Yep.
What are two top moments from us for that you had for 2022? Like, what are your top two moments? And we can add honorable mentions later in the banter.
Yeah. Well, I think probably the two that I can think of is on the NSX shoot, getting to drive my first NSX, the black one, specifically.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because there was several things that happened in there that made it really good. Number one, just getting to experience a car that visceral, that's extremely tactile and manual. And even with like the older tires that car had and whatnot, it still was very predictable and planted, surprisingly.
It wasn't so like mechanical though. Like, technically speaking, if you look at it, yeah, it has manual steering. It had it didn't have any kind of like electronic braking system or anything like fancy like that. I don't think the cruise control actually worked on it either. Yeah. But it's not like it's a car that rode particularly harsh, or the steering was like really that, like what I'm saying is, I don't want to try to paint it like a Lotus Elise, because it isn't.
No, it's not. But mainly just a car that responded so well to whatever I did and whatever situation it was put in.
Right.
Because then I also ferried it on the way back to get some freeway time in it as well. And it just did so well in all those situations, despite being a static car in every way and not having anything dynamic about it technically from an electrical standpoint.
Sure.
That it just impressed the shit out of me. And I really do stand by like what I said, that like I really wouldn't mind owning one of those, and not necessarily dailying it, but like actually using it quite a bit, because it really was a big thing. And number two was in conjunction with that. So not only did the car impress me, but also one of the moments there was kind of this crazy scene where we had the red car that made a slight feature with the black car as well. Both of us careening down this road at a speed.
Yes.
That I didn't expect to be traveling at and following to do a flyby past Gavin. And
when you say both of us, you were driving black car and the owner of the red car was driving red car and I was operating camera.
Yes, and it was just this wild experience with two NSXs blasting down this straight bit of road and dust kind of, flying up from the sides as we're passing all these bushes and stuff. It was just a pretty cool experience to be sitting in the driver's seat watching it happen in real time as we're doing this.
Yeah.
Number 2, I think would be Rossion, but not necessarily in the way you might think. It's not just because I got to drive my dream car again. It's more because I got to drive my dream car in a extraordinarily more finished state than when it even became my dream car.
So it's like it became your dream car again.
Kind of, yeah. Because now that it's flushed out like it is, it really fits the part. It's still got the scary because of what it is, but it's the difference of knowing what crazy shit could happen versus not knowing, but knowing that crazy shit could happen. It's a direct versus indirect knowledge of how crazy it could get.
Right.
So those were probably my 2 as far as anything exhibition of speed was related. What about you?
Well, so we've only really done 2 things this year, right?
We did R32s.
Oh, fuck, we did do those this year. Yeah, that doesn't make the list for me. Sorry, Carson.
No. Oh, yeah.
The Mark IV was pretty cool, though. The Mark IV was good. The Mark V was fine. I'm going to move on. I'm not going to dig myself a hole.
Yeah.
The top moment for the year related to the show for me was, it's not going to be what you think, actually. It's not going to be, the top moment wasn't necessarily the Gulf Porsche. And the yellow NSX is not number 1 either.
Okay.
For me, the top moment was putting together all the back-end stuff we did over the winter almost a year ago and going live with the website while also juggling a bunch of other stuff in my life.
True. Yeah.
It's not as the exciting answer that I think that you and maybe other people were hoping for, but yeah, just having starting from nothing, 6 months prior,
yeah,
or 5 months prior, really, to then starting website, designing website, uploading a handful of articles, coming up with getting a new logo for the channel and the website and for the apparel and stuff. Getting apparel designed and going through, the test, pieces that we pulled, going through a couple of different avenues to actually get them get them made, and then having a point of sale. Granted, there are a lot of things that I didn't have to do with and that you took care of.
Yeah.
But seeing the final product of all that come together was really, really fucking cool for me.
True. And I think the good news is that's going to be the gift that keeps on giving, because I think we came.
I don't know if people buy our shit. God damn it!
I know. I was actually going to, along with you, I think, push out an actual Facebook post about hey, we've still got shit available, and hopefully that'll rekindle some fire.
Well, also I have an Exhibition of Speed hoodie, and I tend to be seen at more public car things than you do generally.
True. Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that'll help.
Agreed. Plus, the reason I say it's going to be the gift that keeps on giving is not necessarily as much with the merch, but with a lot of the stuff we planned and executed in this year on the back end is what's going to aid us to do what we're going to be able to do next year.
You're talking about the server?
The server, the editing PC you now have, some of the little bits of gear we've collected, a lot of the little processes that we've kind of ironed out over the past year are what's going to make it not a pain in the ass to do what we plan next year.
Right. And maybe my number 2 spot, kind of coming back to the thesis here.
Yep.
I think, actually, if we're talking about top automotive moments for me of the year, it is actually driving around my dad in the Gulf Porsche.
Yep.
Because 20 years ago, he was driving me around as a little kid in the side seat. In 2002, I think he might have just gotten the 964.
Yeah.
So driving the same, neighborhood road, engine in the same place, making similar sounds, like just an air-cooled flat six in the back. But doing it in 2022, and I'm driving myself, and then, just driving through at like normal neighborhood, 25 mile an hour speed.
Yeah.
But doing it myself, and then, hopping onto the highway that passed my parents' house, and taking the car for a rip and showing my dad what the car can do in a straight line. Like, that was immensely rewarding.
It's literally a life full circle moment.
It genuinely was. The only way it could have been more so was, a 964 or finding the same 964 and doing it again, I don't think that'll happen. I don't think my dad has any of the VINs for any of that, but
you never know. I mean, that would be really cool, though.
If I made it a life goal, I could possibly. It would take a long, long time. It would take a lot of resources. Yeah, but anyways, yeah. If we're going top 3 in order, probably all the back end stuff and getting everything ready, to start a new chapter of our channel and our I guess our company, our program.
Yep.
Whether that is podcast or videos or whatever. Also, another honorable mention was seeing how quickly reels were fucking blowing up.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Seeing them just explode, especially with the NSX stuff.
I mean, yeah, I was able, with one of the NSX clips, I got 20,000 views on a video in 2 hours.
Oh, man. That's wild.
Yeah, it was nuts. So, that was super cool. And, the owners, too, and being able, the experiences that we've had really since Audis, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's been stuff with the Porsches that we did, all 3 911s, whether it was NSXs, Audis. Yeah. We've just been able to get away with a lot.
Yeah, and with just owners that have been super gracious, like you mentioned. Like, people just throwing us keys, which literally did not happen prior to Audis.
For 3 years, 2 years, yeah.
At all. And that has been the norm since then, which is wild.
It kind of, yeah. Yeah. And something that, I've talked about in the past and alluded to over, maybe last couple of episodes is, starting to do weekly content. I have your sob video is 90% done. I just have to throw in some photos that you have just sent me tonight.
Yep.
I'll throw those in. I'm realistically 60% probably done with my Fiesta video. I kind of rambled a bit, and hopefully there were some sections I can also cut out. The thing is, though, I had a list of things to cover at the end of the video when I was just parked at the end of my drive. So your video is 12 minutes? I think is what I told you, 12, 13?
Yeah.
Mine's 22.
Yeah, and that's at the top end of what we were looking to do with this, but I also think that's okay considering we never did a feature with yours otherwise when we've planned to do that for kind of 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've had my car 2.5 years now, and there hasn't been an urgency to do your Saab, and there hasn't been an urgency to do, with mine either. I mean, I wanted to do it because I haven't had a whole lot of enthusiast cars over the years. Whereas, you had a Stinger GT, that's an enthusiast sports sedan. Mm-hmm. The URS6 is another. I don't think people think sports sedan when they think that, but I would classify that as a European sports sedan.
Technically, yes.
Just because it doesn't wear a BMW badge, or just because it doesn't have a V8, doesn't necessarily mean it isn't a sports sedan.
Agreed.
But yeah, I don't know. There hasn't been as much of like an incentive to like get that out there and done. But now I'm thinking like, well, I already want to like make some plans to modify the car this year. I should probably start with the baseline first, right? And like also do a kind of an intro with the car. And it's also another opportunity to tap into other audience markets too, because we don't really have a whole lot, with Ford or the hot hatchbacks. Really, the hot hatchbacks that we have that are interested in us came from Volkswagens and Audis. And technically, we did do 500 Abarth and Fiesta ST, but that's on one video. I also just got a comment on our. Well, first of all, shout out to Steve Schmidt who just commented on our YouTube. I am a huge Audi nerd, and just found out about this. Such an amazing video, and now I need a B7 RS4. Share the video on Facebook.
Yes,
thanks, Steve. Fucking real MVP. Now go watch the rest of our shit.
Good choice, too, with the B7 RS4. That's awesome.
Yes, sir. Speaking of sports sedans.
Exactly. Exactly. No, and like, I'm glad that we finally did something on my Saab, too. Like, even though it's a little quicker, that's perfectly fine to me because, we've talked about...
I have to keep the leash short on you because I just know you can just keep going.
I can. I can kind of do both. It's just sometimes difficult for me to flip the switch. Because like on that one, I clearly flipped it since I don't think it required too much cutting. As far as my actual dialogue, it was probably more just cutting out the bits where I wasn't talking.
Pretty much, yeah. It wasn't meant for a one take, but
no,
it was, it wasn't that hard. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I put like 3 hours of editing into it and then got to like 90% done. Also, I have been thoroughly enjoying editing by myself. It's so much less stressful. I can just do shit and like not have to like run shit by you.
Yeah.
As much as I love doing that, as much as I love being part of like a creative collective, I can just move so much faster just by myself.
No, and although I can give you shit, and at some point I will actually say that I do understand because it is, for instance, running my own business myself. If I was trying to do Chaos Theory, which is my detailing business, with a partnership or anything like that, I don't think, financials aside, I don't think I would have been able to do all the things I was able to accomplish with it because there would have been a slowdown of another bit of communication that needed to happen to make a decision. And
right,
that is the difficulty, because in a partnership, it can be the best and worst of both worlds. And so I do understand. I don't take offense to it, because...
Well, and part of the thing, too, with us editing is that I'm actually multitasking while doing it because... And not to say that, like, I'm the best video creator, video producer in the whole fucking world, because I really, really am not. But I also feel like I have to play film school while also editing.
Yeah, and that's fair because I've had to learn a lot on the fly.
That's true. But like playing film school, and when you have to teach something, teaching something isn't necessarily just regurgitating, or at least proper teaching.
Yeah,
you have to know so much more about the thing that you're trying to talk about. Excuse me. My fried chicken is catching up with me.
Nice.
You have to know so much more about the thing you're teaching than just the words that are coming out your mouth.
Yep.
And you have to really know them to be true if you want to actually be like a good teacher. And so that's part of the thing that like exhausts me about doing our edits. I mean, also when we do edits at least on our big projects, we're fucking putting in 10, 14-hour edit days.
Yes, it's a long day involved with lots of high-level decisions or realizations. Sometimes like, shit, we should have gotten that shot, or shit, we're missing this, or
why did this camera decide to have an aperture that opens to 1.8 and then closes to f/22 5 times a minute?
They that having to teach me how to do that stuff is also that. And there's just times where we have very differing opinions on things, and that's also exhausting. Where
I find that more exhausting, to be honest.
yeah, no,
Because oftentimes I just have to kind of be the dick and be like, nope, we're doing it this way. Carry on.
mm-hmm. and again, I've had to do that in other areas. So it is something that I think we can all relate to on one level or another. That when you're trying to do something that you've done a lot, you're very passionate about.
It's also my job,
and it's even your job at this point. Passion is a double-edged sword and is very difficult, but we also can see passionate people that have been very successful. Like a lot of we just talked about iPhones at the beginning of this. Steve Jobs is a prime example of an extremely passionate person for good and bad.
Massive dick.
Yes, for good and bad. Anyways, but if I had to, I was actually going to see if I could think of one honorable mention to add for this, because you added a third to your best things of the year.
I mean, I just keep talking, so
yeah, it's all good. I would probably have to say the fact that we relaunched the podcast, because that
yeah.
June.
I mean that's part of the what I was talking about also about how we rebranded and doing all of our back end stuff. I mean, finding a podcast table, getting my old iMac down, getting microphones and stands and setting lights up in the basement and all of that, all those little things. But when you accomplish one task per day, you can do a lot in not a very long time.
Yeah, and actually I got one done this week. We had another win, which was that the TV that you got is now up on the wall in there.
For those that don't know, my parents bought how big is it? 42-inch Samsung. It's a 50.
Yep.
This 50-inch Samsung from like 3-4 years ago, and the backlight went out on it, but all they saw was like this, dark spot on the left side of the TV. And so they're like, do you know anyone who wants anything to do with this? And I'm like, let me see if Justin can fix it. And so we got it from Park City to my place in Salt Lake, and then I drove it up to Syracuse on a day that we had a podcast, and then you had your way with it, and now $80 later, we have a free TV.
A free TV upgrade, because 50 inches is better than 42, boy. So,
what's the TV that's mounted right now?
Well, right now, like I just said, is that TV. The TV that was mounted there was 42.
Oh, so you did use my parents' TV there. Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah, so I threw that up kind of for mainly almost just more for nostalgia, because like 50 is a little bit easier viewing, but it's not a huge difference. It's more just for like, it adds to the cool factor of like everything in this podcast studio was reused, refurb in one way or another.
Well, the TV that was there was already refurbed or reused, but this is another layer of that. And also, we'll cover up more of the wall. There's some more coverage there. And I want to get some more lights and run some more light, because it's still pretty dark down there.
Yeah, and I am going to also, we've adorned the room with a few different things. I am actually going to put those little 2x4 shelves in so we can stack our Hot Wheels and shit.
Hell yeah, dude.
So, I mean, it's going to turn into a pretty cool podcast room, and I think at some point we could start doing a little better when there's more lighting with some occasional video podcast shit like we've talked about.
Yeah, I think the next podcast we do, I'll bring my gear up and we can have a video podcast. So the actual first podcast of 2023 will be that.
For sure, because that would be really cool.
Yeah, that's going to be the one before I go to California, right?
Yeah.
Because let me look at a calendar here. Yeah, well, it'll release on the 9th.
Yep.
And then the next week, I'll be gone. On the 16th, I will be in California. So.
Yep.
So yeah. Actually, I think on the 15th. So I'll be in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do a remote podcast.
That works for me.
Let's just do it remotely. We can use Riverside, and I'll bring the same microphone. I have just a desktop mount, or like not desktop mount, but
stand.
Yeah, like the flat thing, the flat heavy thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just use that, and if we could also do that on the following Sunday after that, because I will have just done a bunch of driving.
Yeah.
And chill out, and then we'll be back on the 29th in person.
Right.
God damn. Jesus.
Gotta love how it is. Hey, that's fine as long as we have a way to do it. So
That's very true. I had a thought the other day too, because once we start with these weekly podcasts, or not podcasts, but weekly videos, we definitely can't have any like gaps in them in order to achieve the thing we want to achieve. So, how do you feel about starting that series in April?
okay. Yeah, if we wanted to push it a little bit, we can get a nice big backlog.
Right, because the way that I see it is my car, your car, book Veloster N and Mark 8 GTI
Mm-hmm.
for sometime in February. And then I'll have two cars because Andrew wants to do a video together each. Or I'm saying each, but a video together with GT4 and if I can get this GTS. That'll be two videos.
Let's see. Yeah.
And then because what I'm kind of fearing is like a lot of the cars I want to do and drive, or sorry, I want to do as much on Antelope Island as I can before it gets too warm and people get a hold of it. Because there is that gap in time between like March and May where Antelope gets crowded and East Canyon isn't open, Wolf Creek won't be open, Guardsman's won't be open.
Yeah, a lot of shit's just
Like what else could we do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess backside of East, I guess we could. But I don't want to like, go public with this and then have or be reaching out to people with, awesome cars that like either will be tucked away or something, or there'll just be some reason to not drive them. I don't know. I just don't want that gap, right? I don't want to run out of steam too quickly.
Yeah, especially with you starting a new job. There's a lot of shit that'll be happening in the next few months. We'll just put it that way.
That's true, because also for a week in like the first week of February, I will be in Death Valley.
Yeah, and I'll also have a bunch of shit going on my end, bringing on another person and like really expanding on me. Like this, yeah. I think what's cool, which we can really touch on this more next podcast, because I think it'd be great to do this at the first of the year podcast. The amount of shit that like hopefully is going to happen next year is going to be really cool. We'll see how it goes, and that'll be just kind of the fun thing to see. Is like there's so much shit loaded in the barrel, as it were.
Yeah.
It'll be really cool to just see it actually go, because I think most of it will just happen.
Yeah.
Because that's how... Actually, you know what? I think that's a great way to wrap up 2022. I view this year as the year that we finally figured out how to load the magazine and we're about ready to pull the trigger.
It's funny that you put it that way. I haven't, like, thought about it that way, but that's definitely the feeling that I've had. Like, I've definitely felt like there's a lot of developments, with me and you, and, we've talked about this a lot with, like, growing up as people and, like, going through things, and 2022 was, like, coming out the other end, maybe a little torn up,
yep.
but, stronger than before, and I feel like next year is hopefully the year that we can, really put the power down and, cock it back and just fucking let her rip.
Just send it, bud.
Just fucking send it. I don't know how I sound in my headphones. I feel like my voice is a little deeper and possibly scratchier.
A little bit.
That is probably because I got my COVID booster a few hours ago. So we'll see how that goes. This is my first COVID booster that is, or COVID related anything that isn't Johnson & Johnson. Because I've only had one vax. I got the J&J vax back when we thought that was a good idea.
Yep.
And then I got the J&J booster, like the first day after I fully recovered from COVID, back in October of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess really it was really November.
And I haven't had COVID since, but it's well overdue. So,
Oh yeah, nope, I get you. I had it a month ago, so it's still making its rounds. It's just fortunately the new variants are less deadly.
it's good.
Exactly, that's
It's
an
good.
improvement.
Yeah, definitely compared to, dude, March is going to be the 3rd anniversary of our fucking lockdown.
That's a wild thought.
That is a wild thought
It
because
does
there definitely
not.
was there was a before time, and we are in the after times, and it's definitely interesting to think about that. But we're kind of off in the weeds now, so I think we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
Thank you all for listening and for watching us this year. If you're listening now, thank you. If you're listening later and are stumbling upon us, welcome to the shit show. It's hopefully becoming more show than shit. That's at least the hope. Let us know in the comments. Let us know. Rate and review the podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube if you haven't already. Subscribing alone helps, but subscribing and watching and rating and all that stuff, keeping us, in any kind of form with the analytics is greatly, greatly appreciated. Because we are so small right now that, any little bit really does affect us. So
A lot.
Go head over to exhibitionistbeat.com if you want a hoodie. I fucking love my hoodie, dude. It's so sick. I was kind of pissed that you took the first one and then you got fucking COVID in it. And then I was like, oh, God damn it. Now I don't have one. But I got it now. So Merry Christmas to me, bitch.
Yep.
But I've said my piece. You got anything else, Justin?
No, I agree completely. Thank you all for the wonderful year. First year we've sold merch. First full year we've been monetized.
Yep.
Bringing back the podcast, all the crazy shit. Like, the support, even if it is, not technically much on paper at the moment, as far as like we're not huge YouTubers yet, we appreciate every ounce of it because it's what's brought us to here. So
it's true. A bunch of people watching an Audi video brought us to here. How about that?
That's kind of crazy
that we fell into the pandemic.
That's
Oops.
what happened. I know. That was it.
Yeah, man. Cool. Well, thank you all for 2022. We'll see you in 2023. And I'm going to edit some Fiesta ST video so you can see it in a few months.
Hell yeah. Sounds good, man.
All right. See ya.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.